Yeah, and yep, the Grammys were this week, and they posted the worst ratings they've ever had. And it begs the question, does anybody give a fuck about the Grammys anymore? And I personally don't. Does anyone know who won Album of the Year last year? Does anyone know who won Best New Coming Artist last year? I don't. And we posted a couple poll questions on the De Novo page, and I think we had something like, it was only like 350 votes or something, but it was something like 290 votes no, and I don't care about the Grammys, and like, 70 yeses. I know on my personal page I did it and I got like 200 votes, and it was like literally 90% no. When you and I were growing up, like the Grammys were a big deal. You tuned in. Who won seemed to be a big deal. Now it doesn't seem to be as much of a big deal anymore. I think the industry itself cares, but I don't think casual listeners give a shit. And especially like back when we were in middle school, we were aware when 50 Cent didn't win Best New Coming Artist after he Get Rich or Die Trying, like it was a big deal. It was a big controversy because Evanescence won. And everyone was like, what? That was like controversial. Now I don't follow it, and I'm like, my job is supposed to be like on top of this kind of shit, and I just don't care. So many times it's almost like the Oscars. Like everyone in their mind, the casual viewers, like, man, this music or this movie was fantastic. But then like the Academy gives it to some like really boutique niche, only an expert would know how good it is kind of movie. And then the casual viewer's like, what is this? Who is this person? Who is this director? I've never heard of any of these people. It seems like the industry itself cares, and it's a thing for people like us and Complex and a bunch of other magazines to talk about, but I don't think the casual music customer gives a fuck.
I think it's funny to think about it in terms of if you're nominated, you care. If you've been nominated, you might care. The general public cares more about some of the people nominated than they do the people winning. Pretty much just like you said. I'd say more people talked about DaBaby, Rodney Ricch, and Lil Baby than they did the fact that Beyonce set the record for most Grammys ever by anyone. Because yeah, she released some music, but not like DaBaby did with Rockstar. Like that has 1 billion streams on Spotify, and you're telling me the odds of it, I think, were plus 1,800. So if you don't do betting, that's horrible. Like he had no chance of winning because they knew that it doesn't matter if you're popular. It doesn't matter what people think of you. It's, the industry, the connections, who was on it, who's your producer, who mixed it for you. If it's not someone we like, there goes some votes or points or however you want to call them. And yeah, unless you're nominated or you're involved in it, I don't even think the artist really care right now. Look at like The Weeknd going out attacking him. People are
Eminem,
attacking.
Lil Wayne,
Yeah,
Weekend, like big names are saying fuck the Grammys.
and most of them have been snubbed, which I understand.
All three of those people have also won.
And yeah, well, snubbed afterwards. Like The Weeknd thought he should have been up for Blinding Lights this year, and he probably should have. I don't understand how Taylor Swift's Cardigan got up when I had never heard the song until I watched the Grammys the other night. I had no clue. You can't tell me it was that big of a song. Whereas someone like The Weeknd The Weeknd performed at Super Bowl halftime. Why wasn't Taylor Swift performing at the Super Bowl halftime? If that was the best song, everyone wanted to hear that.
Just like the Oscars. If you're under a big label studio, the label puts you up for consideration. Now all of a sudden they start campaigning for you. Just like an election. They start campaigning. You got to kind of, if you got to play the game, you got to go, if you're the actor up for it, you got to go do all the press, and you got to go do all the things to kind of, maybe all those things that you wouldn't necessarily do all of them if you're not up for it, if you really want to win. And it's the same kind of thing for the Grammys, where like, you're right. If you're nominated, if it's your first nomination, it gives you a ton of legitimacy. Because now every venue you go to can sell you as Grammy nominated artist. And like that kind of rings some bells. Sure. But I think an actual like, oh man, did you tune into the Grammys last night? No, it was like 12 million people checked out the Grammys, and that's a lot. Don't get me wrong. In terms of television ratings, that's a lot, but it was down like 7 million from the year before. And then the year, like last year, it was the almost lowest it had ever been. Now it's just going down, down, down because the casual audience, especially young people, could give a shit about who wins a Grammy.